Welcome out to the show tonight, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your host, Eddie B. So Trump did a speech today. I was watching it earlier, and it was on cleaning up the crime in D.C. and the surrounding areas, and he was showing a lot of stuff about crime rates and things like that. But I believe what he's doing is much bigger. I believe, along with our economic reset, he's trying to do a cultural reset in this country, which to me is very important. I believe that the two go hand in hand. So we're going to watch this video. I'm going to do a little bit of reaction to it, and I want you to follow along with me and tell me what you think in the comment section. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel, helps spread the word. All right, guys, so let's go.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. D.C., 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. Is that where you want to live? The reporters of the world? juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down.
Okay, guys. So I wanted to pause the video for a minute. I want you to think about this, right? Trump is throwing out all these crime statistics out in D.C. And, a lot of it, it's shocking, right? I mean, you've got third world countries that have less crime than Washington, D.C. Well, look, we have cities all over the country that have problems, high crime rates, things like that. And it's typical that crime is higher than in cities than it is in the rural areas. So why is he doing this with D.C.? Well, here's the thing. I think if you watch the way Trump works, he believes in a very high standard for government. If you notice the way he does business, he's always dressed to a T. Like, it seems like the guy sleeps in a three-piece suit. If you remember when he met with Zelensky a long time ago from Ukraine, Zelensky showed up in like a T-shirt and Trump got pissed. Basically, they kicked him out of the meeting. So he believes in that high standard of decorum, when meeting with world leaders and any type of business. Well, think about the way he's looking at this. Here we are, D.C. is the capital of the United States. It should be, far and beyond above everything else around it and around the world, to be honest. I mean, when a world leader comes to D.C., they should be shocked and in awe of how beautiful and just, elegant everything is. But right now they're not. We've got, could you imagine, we're supposed to be this moral leadership and you're driving down the street and you've got drug addicts sleeping on the side of the road and you've got a world leader in the car with you and he's looking out the window and he's seeing graffiti and all this stuff. How can we be taken seriously at that point, right? So I think that's one of Trump's I think that's one of his bullet points, man. I think he wants to get this fixed. So when people come to the Capitol, they see and they're in awe of our country. It's gorgeous. Everything is nice. It's like overwhelming to them. Like something they can look up to. And I think that's what he's trying to start now by getting rid of the crime. He said they're going to be doing some makeovers on the city, which I'm sure they could probably use. And then we can, when we do move forward, everything will be business in the way that it should be. So let's go here.
And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America, really. It's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with D.C., and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead, with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, you know, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face, and then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit, and they can hit real hard. It's a
All right, guys. So think about this, right? This is our capital city we're talking about. This is what we're supposed to be proud of, and it's turned into a ghetto slum, right? Now, if you don't know, D.C. is run completely by Democrats, other than the Trump administration. I think 95% of the city voted for Democrats. The mayor, Muriel Bowser, is a Democrat. And that's why you have the problem you have. Now, Trump did the speech today, and what do you think the Democrat reaction to this speech was? They're protesting it. They've actually, think about this. There's protesters in the street of D.C. saying Trump is not going to federally take over D.C. and he needs to go away, that we don't have a crime problem. When everybody knows they have a crime problem, right? But that's you know, and again, I've said this before, man, this is the kind of stuff that for the life of me, I can't understand how these people think. Like, what is an acceptable amount of crime? None. Now, obviously you can't get it to none, but the goal is to do the best that you can. You don't just get a certain amount of crime and you're like, okay, well, that's okay, it's acceptable. No, that's not the way it works. You're supposed to try to stop it all, which you can't, but that is the goal. But these folks, they just act like, it's okay, no problem. And it's infuriating. You know, they always say, you know, if you shoot for the stars, you'll probably land on the moon, right? But if you don't shoot for anything, you're not gonna go anywhere. And that's the way that it works. So we got to try to get rid of all of it, and the Democrats don't want to do it. But again, I don't know if they're just in Trump derangement syndrome right now. I don't know what's going on. But again, they're on the wrong side of the issue. They're out there protesting. And he's basically saying we want safe streets, a safe city, and a clean city. And they're out there protesting against it. It's insane. But, you know, that's the modern Democrat Party. Here we go.
Disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failure.
All right, guys. So I'm going to cut out that part because I don't want to bore you to death. We're going to move it forward to about right there. So here we go, and let's go.
Very much.
Sir.
Thank you. So, just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast, but we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, you know, it's harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others, and they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They're going to do a big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated. We made it use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch, so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were two ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope. But everybody just left, and that was the last problem we ever had. You know, that was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild, and somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact because you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on. You know, if I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position. Because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march.
Okay, guys. So I love this idea. I don't think that you should be able to desecrate national monuments. You know, we've seen it for the last probably 10 years. People tearing down statues, throwing paint on them. Statues that have been up for 100 years. You know what I mean? Look, if you don't have monuments and you don't have culture, then you don't have a country. That's a fact. Okay. But the lefties, you know, they're always out there. They want to restart on everything all the time. They don't like our history. They don't like our country. So they want to tear all this stuff down. And it's really insane. I love the fact that it's going to be illegal. I think it always was illegal, but they just weren't pushing it. Now they're going to push it. I'm also, you know, I'm in that camp of it should be illegal to burn the American flag. I don't know if we're ever going to get that one passed or not because that went to the Supreme Court before, and we lost. We lost by one point. It was you know, but you know, I love this idea. Don't tear down the statues. Don't desecrate the statues. Don't touch them. You know what I mean? That's our sacred history. That's what people have fought and died for. And again, man, if we don't have pride in something, then we're not a country. Okay? So I'm definitely on board with that part. And again, like I said, I'd like to go a little step further. I'd like to make it illegal to burn the American flag. Maybe that'll be next. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great thing. They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world right now. The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars with Pakistan and India. We just solved one. Azerbaijan, and as you know, in Armenia. A war was raging for 37 years. And the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. They've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years, one was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war, and you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them done. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, the metal things that are always, somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken and bad, but here they're really bad. And we're going to either put new or fix it, and it's not expensive. It's not really expensive. And we're going to fix our roads a little bit. We're going to clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday, the people go out and they wash their sidewalks in front of their stores or their houses. They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet, I don't think, Gaddy. We're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But we're going to make it clean. But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of our country. And when they see a bad city, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart, and he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol.
Okay, guys, that statement he just made right there, I believe sums up his entire intention on what he's doing culturally. Okay, that is funny, because that statement right there is what made me want to do this podcast on this subject. When I've been involved with commercial cleaning my whole life. I do a lot of stuff. I work in the bar business, and when I used to go to businesses to try to get try to get accounts, I would always tell them, if somebody walks in the front door, and when you walk in the front door, if your place looks terrible, they're not staying. You know what I mean? And he's 100% right. What he just said about the restaurant, that's 100% right. Okay? And so for people to respect us and want to be here and deal with us and look up to America like these foreign leaders should, it's got to be beautiful when you come in. And I know that sounds kind of vain and it's kind of superficial, but it's just part of the overall package of creating an environment when people come here, they go, man, we want to be like that, rather than, if we got a bunch of homeless people and drug addicts on the streets and the buildings are worn down and everything looks terrible, they're looking at us like, well, who are you to tell us? You see what I'm saying? It really does make a big difference. So I love this whole thing. That's going to be enough for that video tonight. Just remember, it's cultural and economic together. The two work hand in hand. They both have to be healthy for the other to be healthy. You know what I mean? So I love what he's doing here. He's really been hammering on the economic stuff for the last 7-8 months. And he's really, I think he's got the ball rolling, but it's in the beginning stages. So I feel like now he can switch over a little bit to the cultural stuff and start working on that. And man, we can just, we can make this country great again. I'm really excited about it. I love what he's saying, and I hope to see it again. Now, guys, keep your eyes out for my next video. I did a previous video on the cartels and what's going on in Mexico. I'm going to do another one next. You're going to want to see that because this war on the cartels, I think, is about to ramp up. I've been watching some stuff, and I think it's about to ramp up. I'll let you in on that. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. This is Eddie from Studio 321. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.